All right, gentlemen. So I'm going to give a quick off-season tutorial. I started writing it up in an email, and when I got this far in the email, and that's just barely covered in, I just like this is going to lose people. And so rather than do it that way, I'm just going to do a quick visual thing. I think we can get it through it much faster. So this is where we at. We're running this today, which is the postseason contracts and arbitration. Then we're going to get into free agent bids. I've got a plan for trades. Rookie draft is filing up. This is highlighted because that is the preseason start, which is an important today that we'll talk about as we get into the numbers. All right, so we're basically looking through getting all of the off-season here. Tuesday to Tuesday, yeah. So we're gonna start spring training the following Thursday. So we got about a week of off-season. All right, so let's go into the game and talk about what needs to get done today. So I'm gonna use these world champion Kansas City Royals, and we need to take a look at their salaries and where they're at. So this is 2020. Now let's talk about this preseason idea. January 26th. Everything in the game this season is defined as 2020. When January 26th starts, we go to 2021. Why they couldn't just make it 1-1, which would seem so much more intuitive to everybody, but they don't. So every season, if you want to find out where the preseason is, it always tells you there. It's never the exact day, but it's always around that time, late January, early February. And that's the delineation between this season and next season. Okay, so this is our contracts. I went to front office, I went to salaries, and this is our contracts. So this is all, everything on this side of the line is this season, and that's next season. All right. And then one other really important bit over here, and there's so much information here, but it really comes down to these two numbers: money for free agents and money for extensions. They're both labeled terrible. This should say money for this year. That should say money for next year. And when it comes down to is, again, that preseason date. So this is any contract signed for this year, which at this point in 2020, nobody's going to sign a contract for 2020. 2020 is over. So now this is money for extensions in 2021. So when we look back here, and extension is also the wrong word. It's just any money you can spend here in 2021. So this is all of our expenses here, and this is all of the expenses for the following year. Okay, and this can be sorted too, so that you can quicker see who's got what. I actually usually sort it high to low by the existing season. All right, anybody who's got a long-term contract, that's pretty easy to see. Come down, you see Matt Cain. He's got nothing there. Fingers has got nothing. He's extended. Okay, A, what does that mean? A means arbitration. And when we get to arbitration, that's up here. We'll look at that. But so when we talk about the ways to spend money and why extensions is the wrong word, extensions, it's when we're doing this, we can spend this money by extensions, we can spend this money by citing outside free agents, and we can send it by these arbitration money, right? So what arbitration is in year 1, 2, and 3, and this is real baseball, it's how it's modeled in the game, you get these auto, which is this minimum level contract. So the first 3 years of service time, you will get an auto contract. In years 4, 5, and 6, you get an arbitration contract. If it has a star, it means maybe, because it depends on service time, which is the real world thing on service time. They're always trying to delay guys getting to that last thing. And the reason is, for most guys, the auto is pretty cheap, and then you can get into the arbitration, and it starts getting a lot more expensive. So that's the whole idea of what they do in the real big leagues, of why they're trying to limit service time. But when you've got a guy on arbitration or auto, he cannot be a free agent unless you just decide you're done with him. You can always release him, get rid of him, and you won't be on the hook for anything. If I try to release Lincecum, I'm on the hook for all of that. You can't, once they're signed to a full-blooded contract there, it's all guaranteed. You don't get a cent back, and it all accelerates. So you have to be careful with the long-term contracts. When it comes to these guys, anyone has anything on it behind it, those you can get rid of if you need to. Of course, these are always the ones that are smaller, so they don't really need to get rid of. All right, so I've got all this money I've got to figure out. Anybody that's auto, I don't have to worry about. They're automatically going to go. The guys I've got to worry about is arbitration. But do I really want to seek through all of this? No, I don't want to, and I don't have to. I go up to salary arbitration, and now it's going to list all my arbitration eligible guys. All right, start from the bottom. Minor league free agents. Rarely is there somebody down here that you want. These are usually guys well past their prime. They're stuck in the minors. You might want to check them, make sure. Pending free agents without compensation. This is the guys that are good, but you have no option to re-sign them unless you just give them a full extension. Raleigh Fingers is one of them, right? That you see those guys. These are the guys that you're not going to get anything back. These are qualified free agents, and what that means is if you want compensation, you have to offer them at least this minimum, which is always about 15 million. And you just check that box, which means either Kane comes back for 15 million or he signs somewhere else, his option, but at least if he signs somewhere else, you get a draft pick in compensation. You can always try to work out a longer deal with him yourself, but if it gets stuck to into this part, the qualifying offer, that's what the qualifying offer is. And then up here is the ones that really matter. These are the guys that are arbitration. It's years 4 to 6. You've seen the first 3 years. How good are they? What are they worth? And so you can go down each guy. There's last year's stats. There's different things. You should have a good idea of who they are and what they do. Of course, just like anything else, you can put over there and get to their stats, or you can click on them and go to their whole deal. But it'll give you their current salary. What it does not tell you is what they want, because the way arbitration is, you put in a number, they put in a number, and then the arbiter does not pick a number between. He picks either or. So in this particular case, I put 750, and the guy's salary should really be 1 million, but they put 2 million, and they decide it's closer to his, so they give him 2 million. You're screwed. You'd have been better off if you put 1 million. So this is a constant. You want to give it enough that he's going to sign on yours and not take his. And in real life, you got to worry about hurting their feelings. That doesn't seem to happen as much here, so that's good. But and if all of this seems overwhelming, you can also just let the computer do it, because they will go through and make these arbitration ideas for you. The number one thing that I tend to do on here, I tend to go with the numbers they've put. But if I see like, oh, this guy, he sucks. I don't have interest in that. I'll just do a withdrawal and pull him off, and then that gives him. I can just do it here to show you, and now he gets nothing. But then I changed my mind because it's not my team, and put it back and submit it. There you go. So it's as simple as that. So when we go into the arbitration, this is the main thing that's on today's agenda: is make sure your arbitration numbers are right. There's usually 1 or 2 decisions that you have to be making in here. And sometimes it's nothing more than, I've got 9 relief pitchers here, and they're all about the same. I really only want to get to arbitration numbers on a few of them, because I don't want to give away that much money. All right, so that's arbitration. The other is full-on extensions. So I decide, I don't want to let Matt Cain get out there into the free world and see what they can give him. I'm going to right-click on him and offer extension. And then he's going, great. Well, you can see why 16 million is great, because he wants 35. So I can negotiate this with him, which in a quote-unquote normal slow game where you negotiate, you do a day, you go back, he comes back and forth, it's fine. Here where you're going to put in a number, and then it's going to be a week or a month or however long the sim is until he gets back to you, that there's a bigger chance to lose him. So you have to be more aggressive in what you're willing to give. Also, don't be afraid to say, well, I can't spend 35 next year, so I'm going to take, 105. I'm going to give you 15 next year, but you'd better give him that 5 somewhere else. So I'll give him 5 there, 5 there, and add 10 there. So, it didn't work, but it doesn't matter. I'm not actually going to submit this. So that right there, by doing that, these totals add up the same. He won't always take it. Sometimes he'll bellyache about this number, but it's a way to kind of defer some of the salary. But it does mean you're going to be stuck with these later down the line. So when you get here to that, and then you ask for the response, and sometimes he'll say, yeah, that's great. He said yes. Then I would submit it. I'm not going to do that again because it's not. This is the team. The other is if you just click meet demand, whatever he asks for, then that's just it submits what it is they're asking for, and not a lot of time, but the majority of the time they'll go ahead and accept that. In this part, when we get into full on free agency, that won't work. All right, so that's how you do extensions for guys, and then and he's interested. I mean, everybody's gonna be interested for them. They just won, so everybody's all happy. Let's see if I can find an unhappy person. This is the other. So I usually like to go to this page, the salary page, because I can see everything laid out. Who's coming back? Who's got extensions? Who's got anything? But you can also go to the upcoming free agents and then filter on all these things. And a lot of times you can get personality and morale. Let me see. Who's pissed off? There we go. Kevin Millar's pissed off. So I was looking for a guy specifically pissed off because now when I try to extend him, he's probably going to say, no, even he's happy. They won the World Series. What about him? There you go. Nope, pissed off. So Cargo doesn't want to play in Kansas City anymore. So once you see this is not a permanent thing, but when you see it this late in the game, then you're almost certainly not going to be able to sign a guy. All right. And then if you really cared about why he was pissed off, you could click there. It's transactions, performance, and so. But at the end of the day, he don't want to be a Royal anymore, probably because he got 100 at bats. All right. So that's what you're going to be doing today. Extensions, arbitration. Make sure you downloaded the latest thing or the latest file before you do this. Make sure you upload a file so that all that stuff gets in. I'll run that, and then after I run that, we're going to get in here to free agency. And if you notice trades over here, so I have I have an idea to open up some trade options. But I'm going to end this video today so that this gives the how to do it today video, and then do another one later. All right, bye.